It is so great to be here at 6 USL Symposium, and I'm so thrilled to meet all of you. It's really an amazing honor. And thank you so much, Your Excellency, Mr. Kim Solomon, for letting me be part of this wonderful event. And Regional Director Janice Lung, also, thank you so very much. It's truly an honor and privilege. And the video that you just watched is, it's made to get people to think and talk about music, which is my passion in life. And 4 handsome young men that you've seen, they are my HKGNA Hong Kong Generation Next Arts musical angel from St. Stephen's Society. Like Sarah mentioned, St. Stephen's Society is the rehab center for ex-drug addicts, ex-triad gang members, and troubled youth. So these 4 boys couldn't play a note of music when I first met them, didn't have any background whatsoever. But shortly after, I witnessed that their lives changed through music. And they developed this healthier self-esteem too, and they learn to focus better, and they learn to express how they feel through music. And it's such a great tool for life. And Sun, he even found the greater purpose and passion through music. So you might say, what does it have to do with overcoming fear? Well, as a pianist who began to perform at age 5, I thought I knew what my passion and my purpose was. But my own fear and my baggage that I carried, that kept me from walking fearlessly in my purpose. And not so different from my musical angels, those guys, my 4 guys. We actually even celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas together. Who knew? And their fear kept them from really try to be the best of themselves, because everybody said, you're not good enough, you're the outcast, because of their habits and their fears and their obstacles and all the baggage that they carry. I wasn't so different from them. So the person that you see before you today and the person that you saw in the video was not me about 20 some odd years ago. Not at all. And I wanted to share with you how I started to let go of my fear and found myself and walking in my purpose in life. So when Mr. Solomon and Ms. Lung asked me to speak about this topic, overcoming fear, and believe me, this was not by my choice. And, I was thinking, oh my gosh, they must know that I'm like the most hypersensitive person. I worry about everything. I'm anxious about everything. And I thought to myself, that who am I to speak about this fear? I am not a psychiatrist or spiritual guru. I still face every day of some sort of fear and anxiety. But deep in my heart, I know, and working through fear is so essential to live out your purpose and dream. And I thought I'd take on this challenge to share with you what my battles with fear were. Some, I must say, I conquered most of it. Some I still battle with, but I learned to manage and tame it. So I wanted to share with you 3 fears that I had to battle with. Fear of failure, fear of love, and fear of death. Fear, well, fear is all around us. Fear of war, fear of economic collapse, fear of outbreak of disease, any kind of circumstances, fear of our own, all kinds of phobias. It's part of human existence and human nature. It's supposed to design to help us, protect us from harm, but when it's irrational and keep us from reaching our true potential, that could put you and put me in a mental and emotional prison. So I was bound heavily with the fear of failure, and it plagued me most of my life. As long as I can remember, I was always a competitive person. I don't know, by genetic, by upbringing, I did have ultimate tiger mom. I always wanted to be the best. I would study harder than anyone. I would practice harder than anyone just so that I would not lose. And anything less than first be the best was a failure to me. And when I was very young, I loved music. You know, I just love playing all kinds of instruments. I love to sing. I love to listen to different music, and music was fun. Playing music was fun, just like my baby boy in the video said. Music was fun. But then when I started to concertize and competing in a competition, it's impossible to get first prize all the time. It's impossible to be perfect all the time. So I felt like I was starting to feel like a failure person. And slowly but surely, I started to only focus on how other people perceive my music. It no longer drove, this love for music drove me, but how other people saw me, my peers, judges, teachers, and audience. And it really consistently just weighed me down with a feeling of inadequacy and always wanting to measure up to this unattainable perfection on stage. And I started to have a physical reaction. I did not have a stage fright, but suddenly I started to have one day at a concert, I literally felt like I was chained down on a piano and I could not get up. I was gripped with fear that I've never felt before. And I felt so self-conscious. I felt like all the audience were looking at me and they're judging me in my every move and they're waiting for me to fail. And they're waiting to just laugh at me because I was not good enough. And it took me a while to get hold of this. After a bad performance, I felt so bad and so defeated. I got on my knees and I just felt filled with self-hate and self-loathing. I wanted to end it all. I just couldn't take it, to be the best of everything, and suddenly I was complete utter failure. But then my other fear, fear of death, kicked in. I thought, okay, I'm gonna do everything to beat this because I don't want to die from this. So I was determined to tame my own beast, this fear of failure, face on. And I didn't have any strength because I was beaten down. I looked to God and I asked for strength, and I slowly worked on my body and mind and all together. And it dawned on me that I should tackle what happens to me physically, not just my musical skill. So I sought out help from sports psychiatrists who work with Olympians. I thought, I am not an athletic person by all means. I'm probably the least athletic person I know. But I thought to myself, what's happening to me must be something like what's happening to athletes when they deal with anxiety before games. And I wanted to learn truly how I should train myself mentally and physically to tame my fear and anxiety. So this fear and anxiety ultimately affected my personality off stage too. When I was young, I was this outgoing, gregarious kid. Like, I love spotlight. I was thrilled to be talking to people, connecting with other people. But then once this fear gripped me, I started to change. And from this very outgoing kid to a very quiet and introverted kid who I rarely talk, I was too consumed with this fear, and I started to really change, and I lost the real me. And speaking in public, that's out of question. I can't even speak in front of my friends. I didn't have self-confidence. I didn't have my own voice. And I thought no one would be interested in me. And I have to say, when I first met my husband, then my boyfriend, he used to tease me saying that, I have to do all the talk because you don't ever talk. And, if I didn't go to your concert, I never believed that you're a pianist because you don't ever talk about music, period. So once he brought me out to meet all his friends, and they were all guys. And suddenly I felt totally paranoid and so self-conscious. I couldn't say one word. And I just looked down and I kept eating. And I couldn't say anything. And after they were gone, my husband was like, "Why didn't you say one word? What's wrong with you?" They all thought, "What a stuck-up girl." Except that they didn't really use that word. So, turning point for me didn't come from the expert or teachers or psychiatrists. It came from the unexpected place. It came when I went on a mission trip to Honduras. My mother-in-law is a missionary, and her church asked me to play a Christmas concert. So I thought it was just a church concert, and I practiced regularly, Bach candle, and it's Christmas, so I prepared some Christmas hymns. But then when I got there, it was just outdoor tent, hut more like, and mud. And there's not a piano, electronic keyboard, mind you. So I just went right into Bach and Handel. And oh, by the way, the audience were all kids, all children. There were not that many adults. So I played, and they were great. They were listening to classical pieces, and I was great, on a keyboard, classical music, great. And then when I started to play Christmas hymns, they started to sing in Spanish, and it was incredible. At that moment, we were one in music. We were making music together. And these guys, some of these children, they look very poor, very sick, but when they were singing, they sound like an angel, and we're making music together. And I never felt that kind of joy that I haven't felt for a long, long time. And then it dawned on me, my problem is that I put myself into the prison that I created. Because I thought that it's all about self-ego, try to perform to perfection. Instead of sharing this wonderful music, I was too caught up with showing up what I can do, what my ability was. I was too focused on myself. So I realized that it was not about me, but sharing and connecting with the world through music. And all of a sudden, burden of this fear and anxiety all slowly disappear, and this pure joy and beauty of music appears. So I guess when your self-ego disappears, the pure love appears. So I really found the greater purpose in music. It's about sharing and serving the gift of music with others. So I overcame with fear my faith in God and learning to have a mental rehearsal. I knew that I thought about all the possible worst case scenario possible. Say if I was dealing with concerts, or if I was wanting to get the approval from someone so badly, or if I wanted to present a great concert, I would think about the mental possible, like the actual thing as possible, and I go through and I monitor myself, what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and everything that goes in my head. And I would think about the worst case, the absolute worst case. And then I would think of the way to get back up, so that I wouldn't be complete failure. So you know how it's crazy imagining how bad it would be, but in reality it's not as bad as you thought it would be. So this really helped me prepare a lot for this fear of failure. Because even in my failure, I believe that it will prepare for you something better. If you have the solution to deal with it better next time, if you have the solution, not just deal with it, but if you have the solution. And try hard to understand the root cause. By that point, you're already on your way to tame that fear. Because you start to look around, you start to, not just focus on you, but focus on other stuff. And you think about the positive effect, the making it happen, and you will realize your fear is replaced of just fun of doing things. So don't be caught up by your own fear and shadow. That it's irrational from keep you from truly being the who you really can be. And you are so much greater than your fear. Through surrendering and taming your fear, you're already halfway there to find your true authentic self and live out your purpose in life. And whatever you do to pursue your dreams and callings, we all be so blessed for it greatly. So it brings me to my second fear of mine, fear of love. You know, all I wanted ever since I was little was finding that Prince Charming. And actually, that Prince Charming was my dad. I idolized him, and I wanted to find someone just like him. He was perfect in every way to me. And we were pretty well off and well-liked in the community. But there was a political upheaval in Korea, and my dad's business started to go down. And eventually he had to fold everything, and we had to immigrate to US. And I've seen and witnessed how his friends and our friends betrayed him and tried to take everything from us. And I felt this overwhelming burden to redeeming this nightmare that I was going through by being a famous pianist, to show everyone that you can't take everything away from us. I'm still here. I'm here. So this was happening when I was 12. And all the surrounding was changed. All the stuff that we're used to, gone. All the people that we're used to, gone. But those things really didn't bother me. What affected me the most, suddenly my perfect dad that I adore and who was wonderful in every way disappeared after the collapse of my dad's company. And the way he looked at me, the way he talked to me with such a disapproval, almost with that ounce of love. And he was so different than before, and often very abusive when his expectation wasn't met. So I felt this resentment from him and no longer feel this wonderful love that I used to feel. Of course, my dad was with us, working hard for the family, but I felt so abandoned. He was with us. It's strange, you know, the person could be with you, but he seemed so far, far away. My dad, I knew, was gone. He was no longer there. And I felt no longer he loves me. I thought it's because I was not a good daughter. Somehow I caused all this trouble, and I felt so guilty. I felt not worthy. I felt not lovable. And my whole life was upside down. I was in a different country, different community, and most of all, my Prince Charming, who I love unconditionally, who loved me unconditionally, turned into a person who I didn't recognize anymore. And I began to think, I am not worthy to be loved. If my own dad doesn't love me, how can others? And I started to be really angry at my dad. And I vowed that I would never fall in love because I was too insecure. I didn't want to get my heart broken again. But to love someone, you have to love wholeheartedly. You can't sort of love. That's not love. At least that's I know. You either love wholeheartedly or you don't love that person. I simply could not risk my heart to be broken all over again. So I thought if they really get to know me, they would all stop interested in me and leave me. So when I met my husband, then my boyfriend, I was still pretty messed up. But he stuck around, surprisingly, and kept telling me that I was good and I was loved. And he kept saying that, and he kept saying, you don't really know who you are. And I was thinking, wow, if you really know who I am, you will leave immediately. You will stop being interested in me. and I had no confidence. I was too scared to love. If there was any sign of disapproval, say he would be having a bad day, I wanted to leave. And I was a passive aggressive too. If he was not so nice, or if it wasn't particularly loving because he had some sort of problems at work or school, I wanted to go out with other guys. So I was altogether bad girlfriend, bad wife material. So how did I overcome this fear of love? It was not so much that I did anything, but I guess my husband's love started to heal me and break down the wall of fear. And I was feeling that I would start to change. And I began to really believe that I was okay, I was enough. And through my faith, I felt God's love for me, and I began to love myself again. And this very numb and cold-hearted person, I wanted to risk it all, bear the possibility to love wholeheartedly, because I wanted to live. I wanted to feel everything. Most of all, I want to love wholeheartedly, because I thought his patience and love deserved for me to love him wholeheartedly, not like this. I love this verse, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear has burden and torment. We have our ups and downs. We are in love for 23 years and going strong. Together, thank you. Together, even nowadays, we fight this fear of love fearlessly, love completely. We seek and fight to have this. We try to work out if there's anything in the way. Yes, love is perfect, but we are not. And that's a part of life's journey. And trying to figure out to make it better, and we find surprising things about ourselves, and we fall in love with each other all over again. And also, I began to embrace my dad too. Enough time has passed, and my dad started to come around his old self again. And I realized I didn't fully understand or even appreciate what kind of trauma he must be under. I no longer think he's my Prince Charming, but my dad, as I know it, came back as I came back to my old self as a loving daughter. I sympathize with his pain because he was alone in it. And as much as he left me emotionally, I realized I left him too. It's funny how things are connected. If you change one thing about yourself, you start to change in different ways. So at this point, I felt okay. I managed to tame my fear of failure. I am happy in a marriage that we work together constantly. My relationship with my dad, different, but healed. Then I had my ultimate blessing. I had my son, Max. And this brings me to my last fear of death. I had really traumatic and difficult childbirth. I had near-death experience. I almost lost my son and came close to losing my life on a hospital operating table. This day and age, things like this don't happen, but it happened to me, and I'm still traumatized by it. When you're faced with such a trauma, losing your life and losing your baby, your perspective changes again. During this time, I began to examine my life. I questioned whether I had really living purposeful life. Suddenly, all these trials and attempts to become the best pianist possible seemed so trivial and so insignificant to me. And as I slowly recovered, I was so grateful that I was alive with my baby. It's gonna be okay. Suddenly, I knew what my purpose in life was. I wanted to do something to give back. I wanted to make a real impact. So I formed my charity, Hong Kong Generation Next Arts, HKGNA, from wanting to use my talent not only to share my talent with others, but giving back to Hong Kong and next generation. As a mother, I want to help make the world a better place for him and give the best of myself. This became our mission, to give our talented young artists the best opportunity to support for their future. We want to nurture their talents to achieve their excellence in music and become best of themselves. And you know, I gave birth to my son Max and my charity HKGNA at the same year. He was born. I gave my birth to my son. I gave birth to my other baby, my charity HKGNA. So in 2010, I started working at St. Stephen's to develop a music program. And I had to confess, I was very nervous and reluctant, say the least. I'm a great admirer of Jackie Pullinger. She's a famous missionary figure in Hong Kong. When she asked me to teach her boys, I didn't know where to start because they don't have any musical background, and some had this dragon tattoo all over. It was very scary. But then after 6 months, these boys began to really change it. They all perform in the Christmas concert, and they play classical music. And son played Beethoven Moonlight. Son that we've seen in the video, he played Moonlight Sonata after 6 months learning the piano. I saw the true transformation in these boys' lives. From this, I developed a program called Musical Angel Program. This became the heart of our organization. We want to use music to transform people's lives. So this is not that they will all become musicians, no. I want to use music and so that they could have the tools for life and they become better citizens. Instead of taking drugs, they know how to express themselves, whether it's anger, whether it's happiness. And like some found a calling in music, and he now goes back to St. Stephen's and teaches boys there. So it's amazing, true, it's a miracle, and this is the true heart of HKGNA. I just came back from New York, just last week, actually. We held our second New York debut concert at the Carnegie Hall. And we presented Hong Kong's best young artists. Our competition grand prize winner, Yue Zhang, pianist Yue Zhang, and violinist Jeremy Howe. But we are mostly so proud of our musical angel, visually impaired pianist Li Xing. He shared a stage with the Hong Kong best artists at the best world-famous Carnegie Hall. It was amazing. It was a great success with a full house, standing ovation from the New York audience. And here's a news report about our concert. I was so proud of all our young artists, especially for my Li Xing. We worked so hard together. Actually, I drove him crazy because I wanted him to be all he could be. I wanted him to fly. That's why we gave the name Musical Angels. I want them to fly to the person that you should be and to live out that purpose and dream. So to see him up there sharing stage with Hong Kong's best young artists and at the world's most famous concert hall, Carnegie Hall, I felt like my dream came true to seeing Li Xing up there, my visually impaired pianist, and I felt like a proud mom. And now it's about you guys. You guys are all here because we believe that you are the leaders for our world and our future. And you have been chosen to be here. You are blessed to listen to all these great speakers about their knowledge and their wisdom and their message. And you are able to meet all these great friends, connecting and experience different culture. And you were able to participate in all these fantastic programs. And while you're soaking up everything they have for you at USL Symposium, I feel so privileged and honored to be here to share my experience with you and how I dealt with my fears and my obstacles. I'm forever a better person for working through it. Do everything opposite of fear. I did just that. I believe that I will not be complete failure, and I trust that even in my failure, this will lead me to the success. And I was petrified to love because I couldn't love myself. And if you don't love yourself, you're not really living because your heart's not open. So please be gentle to yourself. Don't be your worst enemy. You will realize that you are worthy and you deserve to be loved. Take a plunge to love wholeheartedly. It's worth it. And when I faced with fear of death, it actually gave me the true calling of my life. Using my talent in music to serve, help change lives for the better. I hope you know that once you take the courage to walk through your fear, your heart will start be open again. And by going through it, you're on your way there, and on the other side, you're changed from it. And you could go out there, claim your dreams, and make the impact for our humanity with all our fear, with ounce of courage. You can change, and you can change the world. The famous Walt Disney said, all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue it. Be the person that you're born to be. Be the person that you're meant to be, and live out your purpose in life. Along the way, you will make your dream come true, and dreams that you couldn't think that's possible will be possible. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yara Al-Jeffrey. I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I present my university in London, Kingston University. My question is, do you believe that your mental, your thoughts mentally will actually affect you physically?
My mental...
As in, if you're stressed, do you think that this actually will affect your body, or, anything that is in your brain?
Absolutely.
In what way, though?
Yes. Because when you are stressed, when you're anxious, your body postures start to be tight. And it's different when you're under stress, when you feel like you are not doing too well. It's all about how you feel inside and the thought that's going through your head. Once that thought going through your head, thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm doing very badly, people don't like me, your whole body posture and everything else, you start sweating, you start stuttering, you start having tension all over your body. It's totally mind, body, and spirit. It is connected. I believe that. And I experienced it too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next question.
สวัสดีค่ะ My name is Amy from Thailand. As a leader, if the followers don't have confidence to fight with their own fears and always think that they can do that, how to improve it?
If they don't think that they have the courage to fight the fear, how to improve it? I say do it anyway. I say if there is a fear, if you're trapped in fear and only think about your fear and think what's in your head, it would only get bigger. But if you actually do something about it, even if you're petrified and so scared, you kind of stop thinking about your own fear, but you are actually thinking about why you're doing things. So you start forgetting. So my advice is you get moving, get busy. Whatever you think that your fear is, realize why it's happening to you and try to analyze it from very not emotional perspective, from a third person point of view, and try to analyze why you're fearful of whatever situation might be, whoever you might be fearful of, and you work around it. But the worst thing you could do is be stuck and not doing anything about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kim, Anastasia.
Yeah.
Before I meet you, I still have a question about myself, why I'm here. And right now, I got the answer. One of the answer is because I will meet you. Why? Actually, I'm a lecturer of music education.
Oh.
And then I am a member and a committee of Asia Pacific Moral Education.
Wow.
We have more than 300 members in more than from 50 countries. And I have picked a question, how music can develop moral education, how music can develop character, how music develop moral. Could you please to explain?
How different from music from the education?
How music can encourage our character?
The music, I believe it's angel's language. It could elevate our spirit if it's plugged into the right source. I believe that with music, there are all sorts of great effects that happen in music, right? It's expression of your feelings. You could focus better. There's so many things that you could apply to it, not just as a musician, musically, as I've seen it as a music therapy almost for my boys and musical angels. And the excellence in music, it's the same as excellence, pursuing excellence in academia. It's in everything. You go after it, you pursue it with resilience, with all of your heart, and you could apply it to everything. It affects, and it's such a great joy to play music and to share and connect, and you learn to work with others. If you're in the orchestra or in the choir, you have to listen to the conductor, you have to start to listen. You can't just do on your own thing. And you start to really connect with the teacher and student because you need to have that connection. You can't just teach and, oh, you do this. This doesn't happen. With music, it's very personal, very intimate. You have to work very closely together. So I believe that it's a connection through heart to heart, through music. It's so much greater, and it's really helpful in so many different ways. And music could add so much to education.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Okay, before I take the next question, I will ask you to be a bit more quiet, please. Thank you. Next question.
Hi, I'm Kalai from Malaysia, from University of Malaya. So now we are running a program in my university for the past 5 years. We are focusing on urban poverty, and we have focused a particular group area in a suburban area. So we are doing similar classes, dance classes, music classes, tuition, and so on. And these kids are primarily, majority of them are from problematic, broken families, gangsters, and so on. So I just want to inquire on the methods besides the music itself, on how you made yourself approachable to them, and vice versa. And did you ever encountered a failure? Maybe you can give us some examples.
Oh.
Thank you.
Well, I think being a musician in some ways it's a plus because I was never I didn't work for a company. I was musician. I was pretty sheltered. So I don't have any blinder. I actually don't. I pretty much think everybody's an even field, and my husband still thinks it's kind of odd. So when I approach those guys, they're very sensitive. So they know that who judged them when you walk into that door. And thank God I don't have that. I never had it somehow. And they thought, they didn't know who I was. They thought I could be someone who just kind of know how to play music. So I think when they know that I kind of just accept them, I'm just like an older sister trying to teach music and try to befriend them, and with no judgment. I never encountered that, actually. I think I've never had that. But I do have some failures in the musical angels. It's not all glorious success. Some of the boys, different drug addict, drug rehab center that I work with, this one guy, he was amazing. He learned 3 months and he actually played outdoor concert in front of 1,000 people. And I thought he's gonna go and teach that drug rehab. So I told him to come to my home and start to teach him. And everybody said, it's very dangerous because they're like in a halfway house. They're on probation. So you don't do that. And then the rehab center, the director said, well, I'll go with you, with the student, because I really want him to pursue in music, because he was amazingly talented, and I adored him. And then I went to New York. We have, that's my home is, and I live in Hong Kong, and this is my home. And that's why I think I'm perfect for this forum, because I'm Korean, I'm American, I live in Hong Kong, I'm a Hong Kong PR. So I cover 3 different countries. But actually, when I came back from New York, he was gone. He left the drug rehab because he was in such a high, like we had a fantastic concert. Everybody said, oh my gosh, he's gonna be an amazing pianist. And then after I was gone, he no longer had the attention, so he left. And he broke my heart. And then I've heard that he went back to drugs and gambling. And there's some others, Troy, a kid, I thought he would continue in the program, because it's a program, I can't go out of my boundary. I could only reach them. But most of them, they're wonderful, and they really touch me. Like, at first, I felt like, why am I doing this completely free of charge? Why do I go there? Because sometimes I have to drive a long time to get there, and it's like a halfway house, like a prison, so you have to check in, and my husband was waiting around with my baby, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? But every time I go there, these guys' face just lit up, and I loved it. And I'm like, this is worth it. This is worth everything, because I'm changing a little bit of their inside. So that's my victory, and that's my failure. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
I'm Ping from Thailand. My question is that, do you believe that the fear is an opportunity to be courageous?
Freedom?
Sorry, can you repeat a bit slowly?
My question is that, do you believe that the fear is an opportunity that to be courageous?
Fear?
Yeah.
Fear.
Fear is fear.
Yes, absolutely. Because without fear, you can't be courageous. If you think that I have it all, I have no fear, what can you be courageous about, right? I mean, fear, being courageous is you're so fearful inside, but you're doing it anyway. You take a step and walk into fear and conquered it. It's an awesome feeling. And whatever your fear is, if you start to walk in and try to walk out of it, and you will get to somewhere so amazing, because that's your life telling you that that's something you got to work with, And if you work on that, you will be on your path to find that purpose and being amazing impact to our humanity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Swadikap, I'm from Thailand, and Ms. Kim, since you're a musician, can you tell me that how can music help us overcome fear? Like, can it help us overcome fear? If yes, and how can it help us? And if no, could you tell me why? And how can the conscious mind and the subconscious mind help us to overcoming fear in the psychological way? Thank you.
I believe that music could elevate the soul. Music, it affects in a different way. I'm a performer, so I had to work on the stage persona and performance part of it. But I believe this music could really help to alleviate and release this anxiety and fear. So when you listen to some music, it feels good, doesn't it? It feels good. So I think it's such a great release. Whether you play it, whether you listen to it, it's such a great, it puts you in a great state of mind. So it gives you a great effect. So that comes to your next question, subconscious. I believe that plays a big role, because the music goes into your subconscious. Say if you listen to some great speaker, or great singing, or great song, and it's stuck in your mind, and when you're having a bad time, you keep singing that song, right? And go, hey, I'm okay, I'm all right, these guys are all right, And say you're afraid about some interviews, or or something you wanted to get but you didn't quite get it, somebody else got it. And you say, no, it's all right. I could always do better. You could always do better. It's never the last time. As long as you give all of yourself, that you don't have any regrets. I mean, the thing is, if you have the regrets, say, like if you play safe, I would say that's a failure. But, have that good subconscious saying, I could do this. I'm a great person. You're very handsome, by the way. So I'm very handsome. And I could do so many great things. And, all the girls will like me. And, the good things, I mean, the positive effect of what you say to yourself truly make a lasting impact. I mean, it happened to me because I keep saying negative things to myself. So I don't do that anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, I'm Martin from Satya Wacana Christian University of Indonesia. I have two questions in here. It's about music, because I like music so much. The first question is about what do you think about this choice? Everyone have music talents since they was born, or not everyone have a talent in music. It's the first question. And the second question is, what your opinion about future of art or musician in Hong Kong? Because I think being an artist or musician in my country is certainly.
I understand. The first question to you, I do think it's, yes, I come across some amazing talent that you're born with, yes. But the right nurturing is more important than the great talent. So you see so many great talents all over the world, but if you don't have the right support system, right nurturing environment, it goes to nowhere. So I believe that if there is a passion, that you have the passion wanting to seek the music, I believe that you can be talented. You could nurture to be talented if you have the right nurturing environment, the teacher, mentor. I believe that more than the natural ability. Second to your question, yes, music is not practical career path, but it's if your calling is to be a musician, if you can't live without music, if this is it, I can't do anything else. You gotta find your passion. You gotta follow your passion, follow your heart. Because if you live, half-heartedly just to live, even if you become the greatest professions that they usually seek for, that's not worth it. And Hong Kong musicians are so talented. I work with NGOs as well as the best talents, and I think the great thing about here in Asia is there's this openness to Western music and openness to different kinds of music, not just hip hop, or there's nothing wrong with it. I love all kinds of music. So I actually presented one concert with the rock and pop. But as a classical musician, it's really nice to see the real passion and love for classical music. So yes, it's difficult, but if you are born to play it out. Play your music.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. Hi. As you were saying, it's funny how things are
sorry.
connected.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just to introduce myself. My name is Emilia. I'm coming from Romania, and I'm here to represent Coventry University for the first time.
It's very nice to meet you.
My question is, what made you choose piano and not another instrument? It may be, maybe, because you see this piano like more than an instrument, or it represents more for yourself, like maybe your entire life it's dedicated to it. I mean, why piano and not another instrument?
Oh, I see.
Like guitar?
Well, I did play other instrument, but it wasn't by my choice, actually. Oftentimes, classical musician, you started off playing when you're very, very young, and it's by your parents' choice. And my parents wanted me to be the pianist, and I actually like different music, different instruments, and they say, you should be a pianist, and they locked me up in the practice room, so that sort of became...
Did you like it from the beginning?
I loved it in the beginning, but then I told you that I started to like fade out because the pure joy and love that I used to have, and because I was good at it and it was fun, it disappeared because I mean, it's such a burden to just be perfect and get number one all the time. And I just felt completely just caught up with being competitive and number one. So that goes to other things, actually. If it's not about music, but if any career or anything, if you get caught up too much about being competitive, being number one, that's really not healthy in anything, any career. But music, because it's a performance thing, I think that if you are competitive, but in a healthy way, like I want to make an impact, I want to do something really meaningful, that's great. But if you feel like, man, like they're judging me, and that other kid won like marked second, and that kid got a job interview, and that kid got my position, you know. To comparing is the worst thing, I think, to live whatever you put your focus and your heart into and live that. But you know what, going back to piano, I love piano. I love the sound of piano, and I have no regrets. It's the biggest and awesome instrument. You could make an orchestra sound like, you know, and I have the whole thing at hand. So it's awesome, and I guess in some ways I'm thankful to my parents.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to one of your concerts.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'd love to invite you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, I'm Charles from the Sultan Idris Education University. Okay, I'm doing my music in education. Okay, so I'm also a classical pianist. So nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
So my question is, like in Malaysia, the concept of music, like people think like, I have friends, like we did music education since schooling, and we took examination for our higher education. Yeah, but they wanted to further their studies in music, but there were, 40 of us, but I was the only one that furthered my studies in music, and the others wanted to further, but their parents said to them, yeah, music is nothing. How can music give you life? What do you think that you can achieve in music? So what is your opinion on this? Yeah, I'm not telling every Asian parents, but most of them, yeah.
I understand, because definition of being a music education, being in the music field, it doesn't define you just by being a teacher or being a musician. You could be all things. You could be a music, producer or music, anything. You just have to know what your calling is and to walk that out, be best at it. I think if you know in your heart this is your field, if you truly be authentic and true to yourself and know exactly what to do and envision what do I want to make the impact nobody else have but me, what do I have inside? If you truly look into yourself, and I think you will find that you must have a reason for staying where you are because of all the negativity you hear around, and because of that you'll be greater than others because other people fall aside. Same for me. A lot of people, they were doing great, but it's how you make it. Music is how you define it. Music itself doesn't have to be this. You could mold it in a different way, and it will dawn on you. Who would have thought that I would be the charity NGO artistic director or founder? I thought I was a pianist alone, that's it. But, you never know. So you need to seek and find what that is in your heart. And I know that you must have a reason for staying the way you are. And I believe in you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nazifa from University Tenaga Nasional, representing Malaysia. I love music. I love listening to music rather than singing, yeah. But sometimes I feel when I listen to music, I feel I'm so boring. It is so boring. So what's... And the question is it a normal situation or what?
Is it normal to feel being bored by music?
But I love listening to music, but sometimes there is a time that I feel very bored and I need to stop the music.
Well, I think that music is not your thing then. So you could read or you could watch movie. You don't have to subject yourself to being bored, by all means. It's totally normal because, we all have a different interest. You don't have to love music. It just happened to be passion of mine. But, it's totally, absolutely normal. And if you find whatever you like and being excited about, turn off that music if you don't like it. Why should you be subjected to listening to something so boring? That's not productive.
I really like it. Every day I like to listen to music. But there is one time I feel bored. I don't know why.
Well, I think that's totally normal. I mean, sometimes when I'm practicing, I feel bored. So, you can't be alive and feeling everything all the time. That's completely normal, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, please.
I'm Yento from Hong Kong. Your life is music, and music is your life. But not everyone plays music as a professional player.
Sure.
So, what is your what do you have? Do you have advice or tips for people who don't play music to find their purpose of life?
I thought I did that in my talk because I use music as a metaphor. That's my passion. Your passion could be medicine. Your passion could be journalist. Your passion could be politician. Whatever passion you might be, you must have a fear to work with, your obstacles, something inside keep you from really being all that you can be. So I use my metaphor of music. So that's why I play the what is music. Music is not about music that I want you to talk about music. I wanted you to listen because I wanted all of you to use music as a metaphor to find that passion, find that purpose, whatever that it might be. It might help you to overcome fear. So the mental rehearsal, that's one of the things that I talked about. So if you have some job interview, if you have anything, tests or anything like that, go through everything and find the root cause. And then second one, about love, it's you could identify with everything. And live the life like your last day, and that's the thing. Music is just my life, so I need to share it as I know it, and I don't know that's my life. So, but I wanted you to just realize that that's just what my life is. Your life could be totally different and have to walk different way. So I just want you to walk fearlessly in your purpose, whatever your calling is, to live out your dream so that we could all benefit by you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hello.
Hi, Michelle. My name is Sasha. I'm from Australia. I just wanted to ask you about, you said that, you can use music as a therapy, as healing, and I really believe that. I'm a social worker by trade, but I'm not very musically talented. So I wonder if you have any tips or advice of how people who aren't personally musically talented can use music as a therapy or a healing tool.
Absolutely. Actually, music therapy itself, it doesn't really go hand in hand with the excellence in music. You don't have to be the concert artist or performers to do it. As long as you could play the instrument, you could, beat the drums to focus. Like I know that it could be done with occupational therapy. I know it could be done in different kinds of music therapy, sensory, because music sensors, like in autism and different ways. Yeah. So you do not have to be musical. You just have to learn to kind of be able to use that tools to get to that people. But by all means, you don't need to be a musician. You just have to learn how to drum your guitar or beat the drums to communicate. And that's what music is about, communicating. And that's what I've forgotten. So as a music therapist, as a social worker, I hope that you could reach others and use music to enhance, but that doesn't have to be only way, so many other facets, right? Yeah. So please don't be afraid to just kind of learn how to play and then try it out. You will see how it works miraculously.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, Michelle. My name's Rachel and I'm from Australia. I was just wondering, with music and with everyday life, you know, you've done an activity like you've played the same scale about 20 times, or you've studied a particular theory 50 times, you're completely exhausted. What sort of methods do you use to keep that drive going? You know, practice that scale one more time, pick up that textbook one more time. Like, do you take a step back, go for a jog? What sort of activities do you do to keep that motivation
Personally,
going?
myself, I see. You know, just like when I was young, when I was a teenager, I did not like practicing. I wanted to party. And, but I had to do it because I had a concert to do and I didn't want to fail. So again, fear of failure. Now, the music, because I'm so busy, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I have all these other things around me. It's such a time of myself. Nobody could get into this time. And it's like a meditation. It's like my own space that you can't get into it because it's my own space. Whether I practice 10 times, that's my own time. I feel like I'm losing because I'm diluted by so many different things. I'm a woman, I'm all of these things. And I wanted to just find my voice in music, so it's a gift to me now. But if you ask me when I was competing in a competition, I listened to a lot of different music, and I listened to different artists to being inspired, so that, wow, that sounds really great. I could maybe try it out. Or I listened to same composer but different genre, like different, say if I'm playing piano piece, but I'll be listening to symphonies or chamber music. And then, oh, wow, I didn't know that he had that side, you know, being inspired. But sometimes, I have to tell you, the repetitiveness, and you will actually appreciate this later, it feels good. It's like exercising. You know, it's like exercising your muscle. And when I'm angry or something, and my husband, I mean, it feels really good to play out. And the repetition makes it perfect, and repetition makes your head clear. And I really enjoy my time alone with music, so I love music. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question, so yes. I will ask by myself.
Okay.
How can a musician end up at the head of such a big organization? How can a musician be involved in NGOs like you did? Like, do you think everyone, like, how did you manage to do that? How did you manage to get involved that much? And how big is your social investment and engagement?
Actually, when I said at the end, you know, if you have courage to pursue your dreams, you could make your dreams come true, and dreams that you could not have, and it's possible. I was talking about myself. I didn't think that I would be head of anything. I mean, I'm a pianist. I'm a solo performing artist, and I didn't know how to run. I mean, I just was not in that, you know, working kind of in a company environment place. But, you know, if you truly just face with every day, take a step to walk towards your purpose, universe or God try to shed your way out there. And I didn't know I was coming towards this. But my dreams of becoming who I can be, I don't know who I could be later, but I am just walking the truth, and I don't know. So as long as you could kind of, wherever you are, and take that, and, you know, and this fear or whatever, you know, if I thought to myself, I'm a musician, how could I be the NGO, head of NGO? If I thought that fear, of course, that hit me too, but if you just do it and say, if somebody asks me, please help me, and I did it. And then I started to really work at it. So it was more like a very natural thing for me, and still is very natural and organic, and I love it that way, and it's close to my heart. But I am not limited to music. I want to do, you know, like Sasha said, I wanted to do music therapy. I wanted to do all kinds of things, to use music. So sky's the limit, but I mean, I don't know where I'm heading, but I just want to live the life that I'm supposed to live, and I just want to tell you that, you know, just walk it and do something, and you could find your calling and purpose.
Thank you very much, Ms. Michelle Kim, for your presentation today.